Not me getting emotional over this book. Oh my god, I'm actually gonna cry. What is happening? What is happening?
What up, peoples of the internet? My name is Kevin and welcome back to another video. Okay guys, so for today's video, we are continuing on the series that is for the Vampire Diaries and reading it for the first time. I have the next book or next volume in the series, which contains books 3 and 4 called The Fury and The Reunion. Now, the reunion makes me interested because I have an idea as to what I think the reunion is going to be. So I'm hoping that is what it's going to be. So if you haven't seen the first video where I read the Vampire Diaries for the first time, where I read books 1 and 2, I will leave that video linked up here in the iCard and also down below in the description if you would like to go check that one out first before you continue on with this vlog. And also, once again, if this is your first time ever watching one of these videos from me, I share spoilers, so I tend to tell you everything that's going on, all of my reactions to everything that's happening. So if you don't want to be spoiled, then don't continue watching because you will be spoiled for what's going to happen. So anyways, we're diving into books 3 and 4. Also, I love how Nina Dobrev is on the cover, or Elena, I should say. And she just looks so serious. Like, I bet you she's thinking about how she shoot that bird. That's definitely what she's thinking. Those eyes, that's what they're telling me. She's looking at me like, Kevin, I can't believe I shoot a bird. I'm so rebellious. But anyways, I'm so looking forward to reading this because obviously if you saw the last vlog, you saw how it all ended and how in the last book, Elena got turned into a vampire. So I'm assuming obviously book 3 is going to start off with Elena having like a bloodthirst and like her just becoming a vampire and all of this stuff. So I'm honestly looking forward to seeing that and how it's all going to develop. But the reason I say I'm excited for book 4 and because it's called The Reunion is I'm assuming that's when Catherine comes back into it. Because where I saw up until the show, I know that Catherine didn't actually die, but she never came back. Like, she wasn't in the story yet in the show. Like, we only saw her in flashbacks, but we knew she wasn't dead. So is book 4, The Reunion, going to be when they reunite with Catherine? I kind of hope that is what's going to happen because I just want to see all the tension and the angst there. Like, imagine Elena seeing Catherine and she's like, oh my god, I thought shooting a bird was the worst of my problems, but you're the exact same as me. We're twins. Like, her whole world is going to get flipped upside down again. Anyways, I'm just looking forward to reading more and seeing more of Elena's dramaticness. These books really entertain me. They're not great books, but they're just so entertaining and funny, and I just find the stupidest things funny when I'm reading it, so I'm honestly hoping that happens again. Also, after this vlog, I'm going to have another video coming out where I'm going to react and watch the first episode or maybe 2 episodes of the show because a lot of you guys said that you would like me to do reactions to the show, and I do really want to do that. I've never done one of those videos before, so I'm really looking forward to doing that, and that will be my next video, so make sure you look out for that one. But for now, it's time to read books 3 and 4 in the Vampire Diaries, and I couldn't be more excited. Also, another thing I wanted to mention before I actually dive in that a lot of you guys told me about in the comments of the last video, and I actually had no idea about this until you guys told me. After these 2 books, like the first 4 books in this series, the author L.J. Smith was actually fired by the publisher, and another person was hired to continue writing the books as like a ghostwriter. So this is actually the last 2 books that L.J. Smith wrote themselves. And then the rest of the series is actually written by someone else because the publisher fired L.J. Smith because they didn't like how she was going with the story. So they hired someone else to take over for it and stick to the way the publisher wanted the series to go. So I don't entirely love that, but also I was doing more research on it and I found an article which I'll link down below in case you guys want to read about it yourself. And actually the story and like premise of the book itself was owned by the publisher, and L.J. Smith was hired to write the book. So L.J. Smith actually didn't have the copyright to the series originally, which I find very weird. I've never heard of this being done before, ever. And I literally would not have known about it if it wasn't for you guys commenting down below and letting me know. So thank you so much for everyone that brought that to my attention. But anyways, I'm going to go start reading, and I just saw on the back of it that it literally says, The Vampire Diaries. Love can kill. It's just so dramatic at times. And then also on the back of it, actually I want to read what the synopsis is for The Fury. So that's the 3rd book. So it says, Elena struggles to control her desire for blood. Damon hungers for the Golden Girl and, oh, Golden Girls! Yes! And revenge against Stefan. Stefan is tormented after losing Elena. He will do anything to get her back, even if it means becoming what he once despised. I mean, didn't he already do that at the end of the last book. He literally ended up killing Tyler and all of his friends. Actually, he didn't kill Tyler, but he killed all of Tyler's friends. He's already done that. So why are you saying if it means becoming what he once despised? He already has became that. Okay guys, I've literally just read the first chapter and Elena just professed? That is not a word. Confessed her love to Damon now. The way she switched so quickly. She was like, I'm Team Stefan. Nope. Team Damon. And we all wonder why I kept saying why Stefan hadn't professed. Why do I keep saying professed? Confessed. Because he didn't love you. And clearly she did not love him because she changed her mind so fast. Like she literally just woke up and she obviously is a vampire now. And she saw that Stefan and Damon were having a fight and she went to go like split them up. And then she tried to bite Stefan, but she did not succeed at that. So far she's not a great vampire, not to be surprised. And then like Damon like is basically treating her like a dog. He's literally like, sit, stop, don't do that. And it's kind of disturbing. I'm assuming because she became a vampire due to his blood. Like that's how she became a vampire, was through Damon. So I'm assuming that's why she like idolizes him in a way. And so Damon just says to Elena, do you know where you are? He said. Elena glanced around. Trees. In the woods, she said craftily, looking back at him. And who is that? She followed his pointing finger. Stefan, she said indifferently. Your brother. And who am I? That's a secret I'll never tell. You know you love me. Sorry. I can't help myself. Do you know who I am? She smiled up at him, showing him her pointed teeth. Of course I do. You're Damon, and I love you. I just realized she kind of made a rhyme. Oh my god, Elena. Poet queen. We stand. Like, of course I do. You're Damon, and I love you. She's a little bit of a poet. She does have some skills. But yeah, aside from Elena now being a poet, she is also just in love with Damon now. Okay guys, so it's a little bit later. I'm now up to chapter 4, page 31. And nothing has been really happening so far. Basically, we found out that obviously Elena is a vampire. We even knew that. But basically, she has to complete her change by consuming human blood. As you do. And so they decided that they were like, who do we find to do this? What useless character that has no depth to them could we use? Matt Donovan. And basically like Stefan brought Elena to Matt and he offered himself. He was like, I will do anything to help Elena. And it's kind of sad actually because they've broken up. Like she broke up with him in the last books and he clearly still loves her. The only boy that actually is reciprocating your love, Elena, and that's the one you got rid of. Just let that sink in for Elena. Damon and Stefan have, neither of them have said to her that they love her. Whereas Matt has, and then she left Matt. Clearly she wants what she can't have. Kind of relatable, to be honest. So she ends up like sucking on Matt's neck and she gets some blood out of him. And then because of that, Matt now knows everything about vampires. He knows that Stefan's a vampire and Damon's one, and obviously Elena is. And he ended up seeing the like carnage that Stefan did at the end of the last book. And he was kind of like, Stefan, did Elena do this? Did she do this? And then he's like, no, it was kind of me. And then he gets so annoyed, actually. What did he say? And it honestly gave me vibes that I could see people writing fan fiction about Matt and Stefan being together. Like, I honestly could picture it. Literally, Matt says to Stefan, like, oh, was it you that did it? And he's literally just like, I am what I am, Matt. And if you can't handle it, you'd better steer clear of me. Does that not sound like something lovers would say to each other? Or am I just getting this in my head? Anyways. And then basically Elena ends up going to her aunt's house. And her aunt and her aunt's fiance have now broken off their engagement because she's like, we messed up Elena, we did this to her and we don't want this to happen to the younger sister Margaret, who's only 4. And Elena is like looking through the window watching this, and then Aunt Judith turns around and sees Elena there, but she thinks Elena has died or has gone missing. They don't know what's happened to her, but she sees her at the window and then she starts to scream. And that's where the chapter ended. So now I'm going on to chapter 4, and that's where we are right now. I want some more dramatics. Where is that je ne sais quoi that I had with the previous book? I want that back. I want the moments of laughter and just like the stupidness and all of the dramaticness. I want that. I need it to come back right now. Okay guys, so I've been doing more reading of The Vampire Diaries and I'm up to page 57 and there are some things going on, and by the way, I'm not enjoying this one as much as I have enjoyed the other two because there's nothing really like making me laugh or nothing entertaining and dramatic. It's like, it's actually okay in terms of being like good, which this is not what I signed up for. I signed up for the dramaticness and the entertainment. But at the same time, like, this one's actually probably the best in terms of writing style and stuff so far. That could all change. So let's not get my hopes up here. Anyways, where I am up into this is that stuff has just been weirdly happening. So Elena ended up going to the church in Churchfell, this town. And everyone was there having like a service for Elena because they believe that she's dead. And so they were like mourning her and everything. And a couple of them were like doing eulogies for her. And so many of them were like reading out such fake things about her, like saying, oh my god, she was such a great person. Elena was literally there like, why are you saying this when I was literally awful to you? Why are you suddenly acting like you liked me? And then Bonnie ends up doing a speech and she gets like her psychic kind of moment again, and she starts to say that there's like evil in the town and all of this kind of things. And then Elena obviously is staying hidden in the church because if anyone sees her, they're all gonna be like, Elena, are you okay? Why do we all think you're dead? So she can't be seen, but she's in the church and she looks outside and she's with like Stefan and Damon, and there's all of these dogs just lined up outside, like all different breeds of dogs of all the different people that live in the town. And then they all start attacking someone, like properly viciously attacking them. I'm very confused why all the dogs just attacked someone. I was like, what is going on? Are they werewolves? But then I was like, no, they're dogs. They're not werewolves. And I'm like, this is the Vampire Diaries, Kevin. You're thinking of a different franchise. So that happened and the dogs ended up like running away, and also like a policeman shot two of the dogs, which I was very upset about. And then basically they figured out that there's something going on in the town because obviously Bonnie just said there's evil in the town. And they just assumed that Bonnie was talking about them because they're vampires, so they're evil. But then they figured out that, remember in the last book how I said Stefan was found in a well and we just assumed Damon put him there? Well, it turns out Damon actually didn't put Stefan in the well. So who did? That's the real question. And then before Elena died, like at the end of the last book, she said that something was chasing her. So she believes that now there's some monster in the town let loose, and that was the one that put Stefan into the well. That was the one that chased Elena. Now I assume they're going to try to figure out, the three of them, what is in the town and what's going on. And like, this one has a plot. This is what I mean, like I'm so conflicted right now. I was expecting to laugh and being like laughing at Elena's dramaticness and all her stupidity and stuff. But this one actually has a plot line. There's so much to think about right now. Okay guys, so it is the next day and I ended up getting up to page 82 last night of the book, so I only have like 100 or so pages left. But there was a part that I read last night and it was just so funny and I have to talk about it. So basically her, Stefan and Damon are all talking and they're talking about like how she has to make a choice between Damon and Stefan, and it's so dramatic and it's like, you need to pick between us. And like, I understand where this sudden love for Damon has come from. It's honestly came out of nowhere, like absolutely nowhere. It's just so dramatic and this is what I've been waiting for. I've been waiting for my dramaticness to come back. I've got it. Elena is serving me. So it says, she's already made her choice. You saw it yourself when you interrupted us. You've already chosen, haven't you, Elena? Stefan said it not smugly or as a demand, but with a kind of desperate bravado. Elena looked up. Stefan, I love you, but don't you understand? If I have a choice right now, I have to choose for us all to stay together. Just for now. Do you understand? Seeing only stoniness in Stefan's face, she turned to Damon. Do you? I think so. He gave her a secret, possessive smile. I told Stefan from the beginning that he was selfish not to share you. Brothers would share things, you know. And like, I am here for the idea of like a polyamorous relationship or a throuple. Here for that. But two of the people involved are brothers and related. No, not a fan of that. But if they weren't related and they were just like two separate vampires, had nothing to do with each other, like not related at all, I would be so here for a throuple. That would be everything. So that's where that is. And she's still engaged to Stefan. I just remembered that myself. Bear this in mind. She is still engaged to Stefan and she didn't pick him there. She was like, don't make me pick. You're engaged to one of them. I think your choice should be very easily made, but clearly not. Anyways, aside from that, all that's basically been happening is she ended up telling Meredith and Bonnie about her. Like, they know she's a vampire, they know that Damon and Stefan are vampires, and she told them about how she thinks there's a monster in the town, and they've like written down some suspects and they're gonna try to figure out who it is. They have like Alaric as one of their top suspects because he sounded like he's like hunting vampires or something, because we overheard him talking to the principal of their school and he was like, I brought you in here for a reason, find them. So I think he's a hunter or something like that. Also, side note, I remember in my last video I mentioned how I loved Matthew Davis, the guy who plays Alaric. Well, I did not know stuff about Matthew Davis when I said that, and you guys commented down below and told me about it in the last video. And I just want to be made known and clear, I do not like him. I saw what you all told me about him and I did not know that when I said it. Now that I do, I definitely do not stand him, and no. Just wanted to mention that since I mentioned Alaric, I just want to bring that up.
Not me getting emotional over this book. Oh my god, I'm actually gonna cry. What is happening? What is happening? It's fine. It's not sad. We're good. Basically, the reason I teared up is because Elena went back to her house and she saw her little sister. And her little sister was just so adorable. Oh my god. So basically, her little sister has like a cat, and Elena noticed that the cat was acting just like a dog, like the dogs that attacked the people were. So she made sure that the cat left the room because she didn't want the cat to hurt her little sister. And then obviously the little sister sees her and she's like, oh my god, are you a guardian angel and all this kind of thing? And then basically her little sister just says, Aunt Judith said you went to be with Mummy and Daddy. Did you see them yet? And then Elena just says, it's sort of hard to explain, Margaret. I haven't seen them yet, no. And I'm not an angel, but I'm going to be like your guardian angel anyway, alright? I'll watch over you even when you can't see me, okay? Okay, Margaret played with her fingers. Does that mean you can't live here anymore? That's what it means. When they said you went to be with Mummy and Daddy, I said I wanted to go too. That's the line that did it for me. That is the line that did it for me. That's, oh my god, my heart. And anyways, I keep going. They're still trying to figure out who this other bad person is, and they keep calling it the Other Power. What a weird name to call like the evil in the town. The Other Power. They're calling it OP. Oh my god, OP, overpowered. That's what it really should be called, not Other Power. Okay, I'm up to page 119, and this book is honestly getting so good. I don't know what's happening. But basically, Meredith ended up telling Alaric everything about vampires and about Stefan and Elena, and saying that Elena is good and all these different things. But as we said, Alaric is definitely a vampire hunter. And he ended up hypnotizing Caroline to trick Stefan to going to meet up with her so that the townspeople could attack Stefan and put a stake through his heart. And Alaric tells Elena and Damon this, and then they're like, oh my god, we need to go save Stefan. So they do. They're going to save him. They get there and everything. Damon turns into a wolf and like starts attacking people. And now Elena just like knocked someone out. And I'm like, where did this just come from? Why is there now action? Why is this actually good? What is happening? I am just going through so many different emotions right now, and I'm kind of here for this. Okay guys, so I'm up to page 147. I only have 45 pages left of book 3. Basically what has been happening is we found out that Alaric is actually not a vampire hunter. He's a psychologist who just specialized in the victims of people that were bitten by vampires. And he's now agreed to like help Elena, Stefan, Damon, Bonnie, Meredith all figure out about this other power that's in the town. So he's helping them now. And then also there was supposed to be like this Christmas party in the school, and they just assumed that there was going to be this big attack there and it was going to happen. It didn't. Then they figured out that Bonnie, like I already said before, how she's able to do like all of her psychic stuff, and they talked about how she gets like kind of possessed at some point and someone talks through her. Alaric was kind of like, why did no one tell me this before? We could have used this to our advantage. And I'm like, okay, you want to just get your friend possessed for your own benefit? Sounds fun. So basically they get Bonnie to do that by making her look into a candle, and then someone takes her over and they're all like asking questions like what's going on, and then Bonnie like stands up and the voice speaks through her and is just like, I'll show you. And she's after driving them towards this old church where Elena was in one of the other books, and there's this like old tomb that's there, and Bonnie is like standing at the tomb now wanting it to be opened. So that's kind of creepy. They're gonna open some old tomb where there's gonna be like skeletons and stuff in it. That does not sound fun. But like, at the same time, what's in there? I want to know. This book is definitely my favorite so far in the series because it actually has not been that bad. I'm honestly very surprised. Okay. This book has gotten so weird so fast. It turns out that these whole 3 books, remember how I talked about how Elena was so sure that this crow was stalking her the whole time? I know we're going back to the crow thing. And then we found out that the crow was actually Damon and stuff like that. But it turns out there was also a white barn owl stalking her and just watching her every move as well. What is up with all types of birds just stalking Elena? The owl is like leading all of the animals and making the animals bad, because now that they're all at this tomb, they found out this information from a ghost, and the ghost was just like, oh my god, all of the animals have gone to the dance and they're going to kill everyone, and the white barn owl is the reason behind all of this. That's the one that was coming for you all along, Elena. And I'm so confused. So like, this whole other power or other evil is just an army of demonic animals? Question mark? I don't really know, because then the chapter, like, they ended up starting to leave the tomb, but then like a white tiger just showed up and started attacking Damon and Stefan and Elena. So is Shere Khan in this? Am I reading the Jungle Book? I am so confused. What is going on?
A few moments later.
Okay, I think I know what it is. So Catherine has just showed up. She has Stefan, Elena, and Damon like all kept hostage kind of thing. And she's like looking at Elena just like, can you not pick between them? I couldn't do it either. It's so difficult. I'm assuming now, my whole theory is that Catherine has compelled all of these animals to be on her side. So she's actually the real evil one, and she's just compelling all of the animals, which is honestly kind of iconic behavior right there if you ask me. She is the queen of the animals, she is Mother Nature herself, and she is controlling all of the animals. Is that not iconic? Like, she's literally just like the whisper of animals. She's telling them all to go do whatever, she's controlling them all. That is pure icon status right there. We have absolutely no other choice but to stan Catherine already, and I literally just met her. I am honestly becoming a Catherine stan so fast. So basically, Stefan, Damon, and Elena have all woken up and they're all shocked that Catherine's alive and stuff. And it turns out Catherine was the one that turned into a little kitten that Elena's little sister Margaret had, and she was obviously in the house the whole time. That's who Catherine was all this time. And she's talking about how like she was the one that put Stefan into the well and all of these different things, and she said that she was going to keep Stefan for herself. And then she says to Elena, I was going to keep him to play with, she confided. Then her lower lip thrust out and she looked at Elena. But you took him. That was mean, Elena. You shouldn't have done that. Why do I find that so iconic that she's just like, Elena, that was mean. Shouldn't have done that. I wanted him to play with. Oh my god, Catherine stan! Okay, so Catherine just revealed how she like faked her own death to like convince Stefan and Damon that she actually had died when really she hadn't. And then she got annoyed that they ended up killing each other and becoming vampires because that's not what she wanted. And then she ended up living with Klaus, which I have been so excited to meet and hope that he comes into the story. But then we found out that after like 2 centuries of being with Klaus and like learning everything she could about being a vampire, she ended up killing him. So there goes my hopes and dreams of Klaus coming into this, because he's clearly not going to, because she killed him. So that's fun. And now she's annoyed because Stefan fell in love with Elena and ended up giving Elena her ring. So Catherine's not impressed about that. So this is definitely taking a route I was not expecting. I really thought Klaus was going to come into it, especially when she announced Klaus. I was like, oh my god, he's coming. Here he is. I finally get to meet him and know what all the hype is about Klaus. Then just to find out that she killed him. Okay, so I just finished book 3, The Fury, and I think I'm going to give this a 3.5, possibly even 4 stars, because honestly,
This one, out of all of the rest of the books, actually had a plot. Like, there was development, like we knew like the end goal was figuring out who was behind all of this evil things that has been going on. And then there was like the whole reveal of who the villain was, the final battle and stuff like that. Like, there was actually substance to this book, so I definitely enjoyed it the most out of all of them that I've read so far. Anyway, the way that this book ended is that basically Elena and Catherine had like a big fight, and Elena pushed Catherine into the sunlight and she took off her necklace that stops her from like burning from the sun or the light, and that's how Catherine died. And also because Elena was in that light as well, she also died from it too. So Elena and Catherine have both died from the end of this book. Damon and Stefan have now left the town after Elena had her final funeral. And then at the very end, the last chapter that we got was a diary entry from Bonnie. And she was basically just like summarizing Elena, saying that she did the ultimate sacrifice in the end and sacrificed herself for everyone else. And that was the end of the book. So Elena is dead. So I don't understand how there's a fourth book. Unless she's now going to come back from the dead or something. So I'm assuming that's what's going to happen in the next one, because Elena's not dead. She can't be. Like, how is there more books if there's no Elena? Like, that doesn't make any sense. That's it for that. I'm gonna go start book 4 now, called The Reunion. Okay guys, so obviously it's a lot later, and I have started reading The Reunion, book 4 in the Vampire Diaries, and I'm currently up to chapter 3 of the book so far. Basically, so far, the main character in book 4 is actually Bonnie. She is now the main character because Elena is still dead. I don't know if she's coming back anytime soon, but like Bonnie has been like having dreams, or she had a dream where Elena showed up and Elena was like trying to tell her about this summoning spell. So I'm assuming that spell is probably like a resurrection spell that she wants Bonnie to do. I'm assuming, because I doubt the rest of the series is going to follow Bonnie as a main character. I can't see that happening. And basically another thing that's happened is that it was Meredith's birthday and Caroline wanted to have a birthday party for her because Caroline is now suddenly their friend again. It's like as if she's just trying to replace Elena. Caroline's like, oh, you got space for me, I'm going to join the crew. So they had the party for Meredith. It's Meredith, Caroline, Vicky, Sue, and Bonnie are all the girls that are there for the party. And they're having the party and everything, and they're talking about Elena, and they're like, oh my god, I can't believe she's gone, and all this kind of stuff. And then Bonnie mentions how she still kind of feels like she's around because she's having dreams with her, because in one of her dreams she had like a tea party with her or something. They started talking about that, and then they're like, oh my god, should we use a Ouija board? When they mentioned a Ouija board, I was like, no, absolutely not. If I was ever with a group of people and they mentioned a Ouija board, I would be getting up, packing my bags and leaving straight away. I do not mess with a Ouija board. I would not be here for that. And they're all like, oh my god, let's do it. No. But they end up using a Ouija board, and it's actually kind of funny because I need to read out what happened. So basically they're talking through the Ouija board, and Elena actually does come through and they're talking to her. And basically what's so funny is that Elena calls out Caroline through the Ouija board, because Caroline is like, how can we be sure that it's Elena? And then basically Elena spells out, Caroline, don't be a jerk. It said, you're lucky I'm talking to you at all. And then they're all like, that's Elena, all right. It sounds like her, but oh, shut up, Caroline, Bonnie said. Elena, I'm just so glad her throat locked up and she tried again. Bonnie, there's no time. Stop sniveling and get down to business. Would you imagine how long that would take to spell out with a Ouija board? Just bear that in mind. And that was Elena too. Bonnie sniffed and went on. I had a dream about you last night. And then Elena replies through the Ouija board and she says, tea. Why do I find that so funny? I'm literally just picturing they're using the Ouija board like, oh my god, I had a dream about you last night, Elena. And then Elena is like talking through the Ouija board and she's like, ooh, that's tea. It's not even that funny, but that's... I know, like, as well, that's not what Elena meant. It's because in the dream, her and Bonnie were having tea and, like, having a tea party together. So that's what she meant. Like, she just meant to say, like, oh, I knew you had a dream about me because we had tea in it. But it's the fact that, like, in modern day conversations, if you say tea like that, people think you're giving them, like, gossip or something. I just found it really funny. And yeah, so that happened, and Elena started warning them that someone is getting really strong and he's coming, and you need to make sure you summon this spell and everything. And then all of the lights go out in the house and it gets kind of scary. I was like, oh my god, what's happening? And they're like walking around and something grabs Bonnie's hand that's supposed to be like very wet and weird. Not a fan of that. And then apparently upstairs, Sue and Vicky are up there, and like part of Caroline's bedroom upstairs has been like blown apart, and like the windows have been smashed out and the balcony has been gone. And Vicky is like standing there and she's like really still, and she's like, he said I'm gonna be next, he said I'm gonna be next. Meredith goes to the balcony and she looks out on the ground and she's like, Bonnie, don't look out there. So obviously Bonnie goes and looks outside the balcony, and Sue is on the ground, all not very much alive. I'll leave it at that. And also, this also makes me question Bonnie as a character, because as I just said, that Sue girl just fell off the balcony and she is very much not alive. And Bonnie is just like, and throughout all of the confusion that raged afterwards, two thoughts kept vying for dominance in Bonnie's mind. One was that Caroline would never have her foursome now. Not a fun time to use the word foursome. And the other was that it wasn't fair for this to happen on Meredith's birthday. It just wasn't fair. Like, why is Bonnie saying, oh my god, this is so unfair? Like, Sue, you had to be murdered on her birthday. Like, this is so rude and unfair. Like, why would you do that? Like, stop stealing Meredith's thunder. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but bring back Elena. I want to read through Elena's POV, because Bonnie, I really question her. Okay guys, so it's the next day and I'm now up to page 52 of the reunion, and so many things are just going on. So basically they're trying to summon Stefan because Elena is like trying to tell Bonnie that there's some evil out there and that he's coming, and that the evil person is able to use your fear against you and all of these different things. And so they want to try to contact Stefan. They did that. They did like a summoning thing where they used some blood and like his hair, and they summoned him and got in contact with him. So hopefully Stefan's gonna come back to the town. But anyways, it's still following Bonnie and she's just dealing with everything, and she's gone back to school and she's in the classroom, and like one of her fellow like classmen and everything comes up to her and says, no offense, but your friends keep turning up dead. Bonnie had gone into the bathroom and cried. How insensitive. Poor Bonnie. Honestly, kind of feeling a little bit sorry for her right now. Like, imagine someone saying that to you. They're also like suspicious of Tyler, and they're saying that like Meredith got touched by him on the neck before, like he touched her neck before. He felt very like cold and like disgusting on his hands. So they think that he could have been the person that was in the house that when Sue died. Now I'm having a theory that maybe Tyler is something. Okay, so I'm up to page 78 now of the book, and I feel like the author is really trying to make Matt look like he's so deep and he's just so smart and he knows everything and he's just like the savior or something. And it's not working. Sorry, but Matt is so irrelevant. Like, he really, really is. He has some good moments where I'm like, oh my god, so cute, love him, he's adorable. Then other times I'm just like, why is he there? Like, why is he there? He's just so irrelevant. But anyways, so Stefan and everything is helping them all figure out who is this new murderer that's going around. And apparently that murderer is now after Vicky because she keeps saying that she's next and he's coming for her. So they end up going to look at Sue's body to see if like there was any vampire marks on her, just to make sure the person that's doing the killing isn't a vampire. And they get there, they examine her body, they don't notice anything or whatever. And then they're leaving and Bonnie starts crying because she's just sad and everything. And then Matt is just like comforting her and everything, and he's just like, there, this world is such a dark place. And I'm like, honestly, that it is. And that's why I'm like, sometimes I agree with what he's saying, and then other times I'm just like, Matt, really, like, it's not that deep. Because one of the things he said is that they're leaving like the viewing room where Sue is, and Stefan says, we're finished, Stefan said from behind them. As Matt looked towards the voice, the lost look seemed to intensify. Sometimes I think we're all finished. Like, he's just so deep at times for absolutely no reason. Like, what was the point of saying, sometimes I think we're all finished? Yes, Matt, sometimes we are all finished. What was your motive there? I feel like he really thought he did something by saying that. Okay, I just read a little bit more, and Stefan was saying that like how Vicky's description of who the person is that's like doing the killing, because she obviously saw Sue die. She described what he looked like. She said he had like icy blonde hair and he like wore like a cape and everything. And Stefan was like thinking about the description and he's like, oh, this sounds familiar, but it's not someone I've met before, but it's someone I've heard a lot about. Guys, I think it's Klaus. I'm predicting it now. I think it's Klaus. This is making me so happy. I just want him to come into it. I want to understand
the hype around Klaus.
A few moments later.
So it wasn't Klaus. I'm really sad. It was actually Tyler, apparently. And also, Tyler's a werewolf. So there is werewolves in this book. I love how I said earlier on in the vlog, I was like, oh my god, I think there's gonna be werewolves. And then no. I was like, no. That's a different series, Kevin. But there actually is werewolves in this. Love that. And we know that Tyler is a werewolf because basically they've all graduated from high school now and they made like this plan to try trick someone because they thought they knew what was going on. So Meredith made it very known at the graduation that she was going to go to Elena's grave to like celebrate with Elena since she's obviously not there. And she goes to the graveyard, she puts like the graduation cap on the grave and everything. And then Tyler shows up because he overheard what Meredith said. So he went after her and then he started to like transform into like a werewolf because he was like, you do know there is more things than just vampires in this town. Everything! I did not know there was going to be werewolves. And Tyler was such an irrelevant character, but now he has a little bit of spice. He's a werewolf. And now they've brought Tyler to the church because they're going to interrogate him and find out all of the information about why he killed Sue and all of that kind of stuff. Once again, I am actually quite enjoying book 4 as well. I thought these books were just going to get worse, but like these two have honestly been not that bad. Okay, I'm up to page 124 and it is Klaus. I'm so happy right now. I really didn't think they were going to bring him into the story and I'm just so happy they are because they're interrogating Tyler and basically Tyler was working for Klaus because Tyler's family are known to be werewolves, but the only way to actually initiate it and to become a werewolf, he had to drink human blood. So Klaus helped by killing Sue and then he made like a cut on Sue so that Tyler could drink her blood and become a full-fledged werewolf. And so for that reason, Tyler was helping Klaus. And the reason, by the way, I know it's Klaus, his name actually hasn't been said, but I just know it's him because Tyler just says, get him, you're nuts. Tyler burst into ugly laughter and Matt tightened the arm around his throat. Hey, choke me all you want, it's still the truth. He told me he's one of the old ones, one of the originals, whatever that means. He said he's been making vampires since before the pyramids. He said he's made a bargain with the devil. You could stick a stake in his heart and it wouldn't do anything. You can't kill him. He's one of the originals. I know Klaus is one of the originals, even though I don't actually know what the originals are. I'm assuming based off the name, they're the ones that created vampires. Like, they're the original vampires, I'm assuming. But I know he is an original, so it's Klaus. It's Klaus. I'm so happy. I love how I'm already stanning him and I haven't even met him yet, but I'm already like, oh, Team Klaus.
Okay guys, so I have just finished reading the reunion and once again, this was actually kind of good. I'm so surprised by both of these books. I actually think I'm probably going to rate both of them the same. I really enjoyed both of them. There honestly wasn't anything that bad about them. So many things happened since I last spoke to you. So as I said, we all know it was Klaus that was the bad guy and they ended up confronting him. Well, Stefan went by himself because Klaus contacted Stefan and said, just me and you, let's meet together. I have Caroline held hostage. And he was like, I'm gonna hurt her if you don't come by yourself. Like if you bring anyone with you, I'll hurt her. Obviously, Matt, Bonnie and Meredith don't let him go alone, but they like sneak up on him so he doesn't know they actually came with him. And there's like a big fight scene then. Caroline like escapes because Meredith frees her. And then Tyler shows up as a werewolf again. He attacks Meredith. Meredith gets like her leg really badly hurt. And then also Tyler gets like stabbed with some silver because I believe silver hurts werewolves, so that injures him. Tyler also hurts Matt before that happens, so Matt and Meredith are both down now. Caroline is just like dizzy and doesn't know what's going on, so she like passes out. So then it's just Bonnie, Stefan and Klaus left, and then Klaus is basically fighting Stefan and Stefan thinks he's winning, but then Klaus just goes, ha, I am so overpowered, I'm not even trying right now. And then he ends up like flipping it on Stefan and he's about to stab Stefan through with a stake. And I was like, oh my god, Stefan's about to die. But then a stake comes out of nowhere and stabs Klaus in the back, but it didn't go through to his heart, so it didn't kill him. And it's Damon and he's like, don't touch my brother. And I'm like, yes, Damon, come through. And then so Damon and stuff fight, but then Klaus is able to control the lightning. Hello, lightning thief. And he ends up like getting a lightning bolt to like zap Damon, and Damon goes onto the ground and he's like gone out. He's not dead, but he's like passed out. So then it's just Bonnie and Stefan left and Klaus is coming towards them. Stefan is like really injured, and then because it's also the summer solstice, like the day this is all happening is the summer solstice, and because Bonnie is a druid and she can do all of this magic and everything, she like ends up summoning the spirits of the town because apparently a civil war happened in this town, and she summons all of the spirits to come, and Elena also comes with those spirits, and they all come and like just take Klaus. We don't know where they take him to, but he just gets taken somewhere. So I'm assuming he's going to come back in a later book. I really hope so because I loved him as a villain. Absolutely loved him. And then like Elena ends up like kissing everyone. Like she literally kisses everyone. She kisses Stefan, she kisses Damon, she kisses Matt, she kisses Meredith, and she kisses Caroline. And somehow her kiss just makes them all better again. And then after she does all that, Elena's like, I have to go now, I have to go. And she leaves. And then out of nowhere, I don't understand what happens, but then Stefan just sends off some random electricity into the sky. I don't know when these all became gods of thunder, but apparently they all are, and clearly Stefan is now Pikachu. And then I think because Stefan did that, it brought Elena back from the dead, because she like crawls out of a forest and she's all naked, and she just crawls out of the forest and she's like, oh my god guys, how am I here? So I don't really understand fully how Elena just came back to life. And then they all just have like their reunion, they're all happy again, and that's how the book ends. I really don't understand what just happened. It was so bizarre, and just like once again with book 4, it actually had a plot. I understood where we were building toward. We were building towards this fight scene and confrontation with Klaus and Stefan at the very end. Like it actually had substance to it, as opposed to the first 2 books. These 2 books actually had something towards them, and it makes me so sad because, as I said earlier in the vlog, L.J. Smith got fired after this 4th book. So L.J. Smith does not write the rest of the books in this series. And these 2 were actually decent. So now where is it gonna go in the next few? Because I still think I have 7 books left to get through. So yeah guys, that is going to be it for the second vlog in my Reading the Vampire Diaries for the First Time series. I really hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Please leave some comments down below if you've read the books or what you thought of it. Is it similar to the show? And other than that, I shall see you all next time in my next video. So goodbye guys.